Hey, greetings, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. Check my pages here real quick, make sure everything works. All right. I think I got everything, and we are set to go. So, what we're going to talk about today, folks, is the service of process in these courts and everything, and how it's misconstrued. Because, as I've been saying, you cannot possibly be a United States citizen if there is no birth registration for such citizenship. So it's all a matter of delegating powers through seceding to other powers. The states ceded their jurisdiction to that of the United States, which the United States is a debtor and is located in Washington, D.C., who has no statehood. And this simple thing, simple comprehension, everybody should be able to comprehend that they are foreign to everything else. You have your own authority, you have your own power. And it isn't until you cede your jurisdiction to that other power that you give up that sovereignty, the sovereign choice. And we've all been indoctrinated into believing otherwise. We've all been indoctrinated into believing that these laws that they put forth are for us, and they are just, and they're not. So we're going to talk about that as it relates to the United States Postal Service, the registered agent, and the administrative courts for the judicial discretions. And what we have before you is 22 CFR 93.1, service through the diplomatic channel, through the diplomatic channel. And this is Title 22, which is Foreign Relations, Chapter 1, Department of State, Subchapter J, Legal and Related Services, Part 93, Service on Foreign State. So every time that somebody goes and admits that they're a resident and or both a United States citizen, they are claiming they're part of that association and therefore are not a foreign state. And this is inherently backwards. You cannot be a part of that association unless you are a federal, state, municipal officer or agent whose resident presence is deemed necessary by the board. If you don't qualify there, you cannot be part of that association. It's a big club and you ain't in it. So let's take a look at it. It says, the director of the Office of Special Consular Services in the Bureau of Consular Affairs, Department of State, the managing director of Overseas Citizen Service, shall perform the duties of the Secretary of State under Section 1608A4 of Title 28 United States Code. When the clerk of the court concerned sends documents under Section 1608A4 of Title 28 United States Code, the managing director of Overseas Citizen Service shall promptly ascertain if the documents include the required copies of the notice of suit and of the summons and complaint or default judgment, and any required translations. Now, if you're not particular of the legalese, then it must be translated into concise English. Again, you're not a part of that club. Quit claiming that you are. If not, he shall promptly advise the clerk of the missing items. Upon receiving the required copies of documents in any required translations, the managing director for overseas citizen service shall promptly cause one copy of each such document and translation, the documents, to be delivered. So when you're born in a spell of illness and they create documentation of citizenship, that is a false entry into their association with prerequisites that have not been determined and cannot be determined for another 18 years. So you spend the 18 years being indoctrinated that proper or that documentation is proper and valid when it's not. So and the links to all these are down below so you can read the rest of them. It's going to give you the authorities. Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act 1976. This is section 1608A that they referenced above of 28 USC 1608. We're going to take a look at that here in a minute. But the next one we're going to look at, again under Title 42, is the notice of suit or default judgment. The notice of suit or default judgment. A notice of suit prescribed in 1608A of Title 28 United States Code shall be prepared in the form that appears in the annex to this section. In preparing a notice of suit, a party shall in every instance supply the information specified in items 1 through 5 of the form appearing in the annex to this section. A party shall also apply information shall also supply information specified in item 6 if a notice of default judgment is being served. In supplying the information specified in item 5, a party shall in simplified language summarize the nature and purpose of the proceeding, including principal allegations and claims or claimed basis of liability. See, when you bring a suit, you have to claim a basis of liability. So when they bring a suit against you on a basis of liability, there's one code that says the authorized representative giving an unambiguous authorized signature on the instrument is therefore not liable for the person named in the instrument. So when they start placating, well, you signed it. No. The signature proves that I'm not liable because I was authorized by you to do so. Okay? You handed me the application. I signed it because you said it was valid. You hold the liability. You hold the record. All I did was sign it. The purpose of item 5 is to enable foreign officials unfamiliar with American legal documents to ascertain the above information. A party may attach additional pages to the notice of suit to complete information under any item. A party. It doesn't say the plaintiff, but a party may attach additional pages to the notice of suit to complete information under any item. A party shall attach as part of the notice of suit a copy of the Foreign State Immunities Act of 1976. So it's telling you right there, all you have to do is place the supplemental facts on the record that there was an error in the entry upon the enumeration at birth under a spell of illness. This is all terms that they use in their code. And attach the Foreign State Sovereign Immunities Act, explaining to them that I'm not a part of this association. I was never deemed a resident by necessity by the board in any case. It was done through an implication of an enumeration at birth stating that I was a resident the day I was born. And that is, in fact, an impossibility. Pure and simple. So let's look at the annex. relevant only if items 4 and 6 indicate that a default judgment has occurred. 1. Title of legal proceeding, full name of court, case or docket number. So number 1 is relevant only if items 4 and 6 indicate that a default judgment has occurred. Name of foreign state or political subdivision concerned. Now, if they're naming a foreign state or political subdivision concerned, that's in regards to a foreign trade zone. So again, if you're using that trade zone, the zip code and the address, information of an express trust, and claiming that you're a citizen or a resident of the United States or one of the states of the United States, then that would be a false doing. You should not be doing that, in my sincere opinion. Identity of the other parties. Now, the problem with that third one is that they use a identification of a party and imply that it's yourself, the living soul, and that is not true. The individual's name and number identify a record. So if the individual's name and number identify a record, what does the number identify? It identifies an order in which the record is constructed. What does the name identify? The name still only identifies a legal entity because it was a translation of the given and family name to begin with. Let me go back and read that. Upon receiving the required copies of documents and any required translations, the managing director for overseas citizen service shall promptly cause one copy of each such document and translation to be delivered to the embassy of the United States in the foreign state concerned. See, you're the natural being. Everything else is foreign. Comprehend that. Number 4, nature of documents served. Summons and complaint, default judgment. The nature of the documents as a summons is saying that they're summoning you as part of their association, when that, again, is not so. They're saying that they placed a default judgment against you, when that cannot be possible if you're not part of their organization and don't have a contract to be doing business with them. 5, nature and purpose of the proceedings. Why the foreign state has been named and the relief requested. So they're telling you that they are, in fact, naming a foreign state. You're the one claiming you're not, and that's the problem. You're the one claiming that you're a resident and United States citizen, and they're putting forth the nature and purpose of the proceedings as to why a foreign state has been named. And that's the thing to rebut or agree to, admit, yes, I am a foreign state. I fall under the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act. You haven't given proper notice through the diplomatic channels. You're supposed to check with the Bureau of Consular Affairs, special counselor, to see if, in fact, I have been deemed a resident by necessity by the board to perform the functions of officials or agents of the federal, state, or municipal government. If that hasn't occurred and you don't have record of it in that United States, then you ain't got squat. Everything is a presumption, folks. The legal fiction is a presumption of the facts presented to a court until properly rebutted. So the next one is date of default judgment. Date of default judgment. Again, They can't have a default judgment without naming a foreign state, and that foreign state having the opportunity to admit or deny appropriately in private. See, they're not supposed to be taking people and dragging them into a public venue as a foreign state in regards to private concerns. In any case, none. I want to take a break real quick and thank everybody for your support. Unindoctrinated, Jen, Damsel Medic, Jimmy Shively, great to see everybody. Be sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. I am on El Perro, Hecklebus, and Keith Little at the time. All 3 YouTube channels are active on this on the videos. I'm going to be doing that from now on instead of posting to Facebook. So there are 3 channels. Hit the like, share, and subscribe. If you're not on the other 2 channels, get over there and do that as well. Help the algorithms, help these numbers grow, help this information get out there, help people learn to educate themselves in the proper respects of how to operate privately. Quit going into these public venues as if though you think you know what you're doing when you don't. Find out first. In the meantime, there's a couple PayPal links down below in the details sections. If you want to share some love, please do so through that link. One of those links, every little bit counts. 10, 15, 20 bucks, every bit helps. Let's get back with it. The next one is the service time answer of default. This is the 1608 that we're talking about. Service, time to answer, and default. See, they're saying that they're providing you service, but it's not through the proper diplomatic channel. When they send it to you through the mail, or when that nice policy officer pulls you over on the road, that's not the proper diplomatic channel. It's supposed to be done through the diplomatic office, the Bureau of Consular Affairs. They're supposed to qualify the record first because the individual's name and number identify a record and not the individual. So they're supposed to qualify the record first. And so by you pulling over alongside the road and that officer asking you for your ID and you handing that ID that says you're a United States citizen and resident, you're the one that's putting false entries into the record. You need to quit it. You need to correct that record according to the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act. This is something I pulled up 7 years ago when I first started doing this. It's the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act, and you're not giving the proper notice to them that, hey, there's something wrong in the record. I'm not part of your state. I'm not part of your club. Okay? And it says service in the courts of the United States and of the states shall be made upon a foreign state or political subdivision of a foreign state by delivery of a copy of the summons and complaint in accordance with any special arrangements for service between the plaintiff and the foreign state or political subdivision. So now we know that the courts are always going to operate on behalf of the plaintiff by special arrangement for service between the plaintiff and the foreign state or political subdivision. Okay? So they know that the foreign state or political subdivision is not part of the plaintiff actions. If no special arrangements exist, by delivery of a copy of the summons and complaint in accordance with an applicable international convention on service of judicial documents, not administrative. If no special arrangement exists, by delivery of a copy of the summons and complaint in accordance with an applicable international convention on service of judicial documents. I'll be right back. I told you didn't want him out. Okay, sorry about that, folks. If service cannot be made under paragraphs 1 or 2 by sending a copy of the summons and complaint and a notice of suit, together with a translation of each into the official language of the foreign state by any form of mail requiring a signed receipt to be addressed and dispatched by the clerk of the court to the head of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the foreign estate concerned. That's why I call myself Chaplain Keith. Or if service cannot be made within 30 days under paragraph 3 by sending 2 copies of the summons and complaints and notice of suit together with the translation of each into the official language of the foreign state by any form of mail requiring a signed receipt to be addressed and dispatched by the clerk of court to the Secretary of State in Washington, D.C., District of Columbia, to the attention of the Director of Special Consular Services. And the Secretary shall transmit 1 copy of the papers through diplomatic channels to the foreign state and shall send to the clerk of the court a certified copy of the diplomatic note indicating when the papers were transmitted. So if they don't have an address of the foreign state because you don't use that address, how are they going to send it to you? You have to establish a private line of communication. Again, Matthew 18, verse 15. If you have aught with your brother, you're supposed to go to them in private. And my aught with my brother is that they're making everything public. So I've got to go to them in private. Who do I go to? Special Director or Special Consular Services, Bureau of Consular Affairs. One of the ones I'm noticing, along with Pentagon, FBI, Secret Security Services, all of them, all the way up and down the line. Every motherfucker on this earth is going to learn I'm not the one. I'm done. I hope you guys learn how to stand up for yourself as well. Let's get on to the next one. 22 U.S. Code 2651A. It used to be 2658. Now it's 2651A. They repealed the 2658, renumerated it, and remanaged or reorganized it in different parts. But the organization of Department of State is now at 2651A. And it says the Department of State shall be administered. It's an administration. All departmental regulations are administrations. So I don't care if it's a department or an agency. It's all administrative. In accordance with this act and other provisions of law, under the supervision and direction of the Secretary of State, herein referred to as the Secretary. The Secretary, the Deputy Secretary of State, and the Deputy Secretary of State for Management and Resources. This is the human labor capital, the labor services, Title 29, employee record, Title 5, the individual, Title 5, 42, Social Security, Health and Welfare, 21, benefits, employee benefits. See, all those codes talk about employees and agents that are part of the association. You're not part of it. Quit playing their game. Shall be appointed by the president by and with the advice and consent of the Senate. Notwithstanding any other provision of law, and except as provided in this section, the Secretary shall have and exercise any authority vested by law in any office or official of the Department of State. The Secretary shall administer, coordinate, and direct the foreign service of the United States and the personnel of the Department of State. See, direct the foreign service and of the United States and the personnel of the Department of State. So the personnel of the Department of State, as it relates to the Department of Defense, is everybody with an enumerated birth certificate. You're acting as part of the Department of State, Department of Defense. You're acting as if though you're part of that association. at the top level because somebody claimed you to be a resident. You fell for it. I urge you to quit. Sign, resign, retire. Give them notice. I'm no longer process server. Except where authority is inherent or vested in the president, or except where authority is inherent and vested in the full armor of God. See, they always forget to mention that stuff. Well, they can't mention it because Congress shall lay or shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion. So that's the supplement you have to put in there in regards to the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act. It says that Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion. And you've taken the natural inherent person who was born naturally and developed spiritually and construed it as a manual existence. I guarantee you, I exist spiritually in my natural presence, not manually. You see a man, and that man might do paperwork here and there every now and then, but that doesn't mean I'm a manual operator. I'm a spiritual operator. I operate spiritually. I let the spirit guide the body, and it says it will do everything it needs to enhance and prosper in life. And that means it will sacrifice its own body so that another being can live fully and wholly. I give no fucks for any bullshit anymore. Tired of the shit. I'm tired of other people thinking that they know what they're doing when they don't. It's very simple. You're communicating wrong. You've been babbling. You've been indoctrinated into doing it. It makes it so much easier for them to let you walk into court and start babbling and not know what the fuck's going on so they can throw you in jail. While all along, inherently, you know you're different. Yet you don't do a damn thing to find out what it is and how to express it. You'd rather go home and sit in front of that boob tube and watch somebody else's exciting and dramatic life because yours is so fucking righteous. It's sickening. It makes it hard for people like myself trying to educate people how to stand up. It really does. Quit sending your kids to them public schools. They're nothing but propaganda indoctrination camps. They're lining you up. They're lining you up. Just like Pink Floyd says. Just another brick in the wall. And you're part of that wall. You're being the brick. Fucking blockheads. Anyway, y'all know who I'm talking about. If it's not you, don't worry. Keep coming back. I'm going to keep putting this stuff out. In the meantime, I want to thank everybody once again. Yeah. There's no reason. Damsel Medic says, okay, now I get why I don't have to authenticate the birth certificate and national passport like others are doing. Yeah, you don't have to. Why would you do that? Why can't you just express yourself as Gary Davis, Jesus Christ? And many other people throughout history said, I'm not subject to your law. It's been done repeatedly, and they keep trying to shut them down. Jesus was shut down. People no longer believe in the story of Jesus Christ. And it's not that you have to believe in Jesus. You have to believe in the story. And the story is that of your own origins are not associated with some fictional government entity. How could your origins be subject to a fictional entity? See, they're not natural. You are. They're not spiritual. You are. It's an impossibility. The only way that you could be associated with fiction is to join that club and have your hoo-has and laughs and giggles. But again, that's not 24/7. Nothing is 24/7 except your actual natural existence. In that, you have different hats you can wear, and one of them shouldn't be a passport. He preserves that going out and that coming in from this time forth and forevermore. Why would you need a passport? The Bible does that for you. That's the supplement. That's the one that says it's foreign. Congress shall make no laws respecting the establishment of religion. Therefore, they can't fuck with your religion. No matter what religion you want. All you have to do is express a trust spiritually, and that takes it right out of their realm. Now, if they don't want to believe that, it's probably because you didn't express that trust properly. And I imagine with 93 cases on my record, they might not take it so lightly with me. But at the same time, they're certainly not going to let me just pass on through. They're going to make it a hard time. It might be another 7 years before this is fucking over with. So think about this stuff, folks. And remember, I love you, but I don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back. What I really care about is that you get off your ass and do something for yourself. Then you can show the world that you love yourself, and others will be able to love you all that much better. I love you regardless. I don't even know you. But if I get to know you and you keep acting like a child, I'm still going to love you, but I ain't going to treat you very fucking nice. Like I said, you don't want to be my friend. I'm going to hold the candle to you. I'm going to hold you up to the task. And if you fail, that's on you. You're all full-grown men and women now. It's time to put down those childish bullshit things known as excuses and do what you have to. Period. Anyway, I'm out. Remember, I love you. Don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back. God bless. Have a good day. And we'll see you tonight at 8 with Hitler's Willing Executioners. A little more reading on your own indoctrination and why it's still your fault. Have a good day, folks.